Yes, today's video with interview is going to be with Siena Christie. She's going to take our Great River Folksinger factoid. First of all, Sienna, thank you very much for being submitting your music, and I'm tickled pink you're a finalist. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor. I am Siena Christie. I live in Southwest Washington, and I've been singing and writing songs since I was a little kid, but it really wasn't until the last year and a half that I decided to take it more seriously and be my own independent artist. For many years, I would try to be in tribute bands or do other people's projects, and that's all well and good, but over and over I just felt like something was missing, so I finally decided to just follow my heart. And
Mm.
so I'm very excited that only a year and a half into following my heart, I get to participate in this awesome contest and meet other really talented songwriters, so I'm really grateful.
Meeting them through Zoom and YouTube's, but at least I get a chance to talk to each one of them, or 12 of them at least. Um, I did see on your website you won some other songwriting awards or something. I remember seeing something that you won.
Yeah, gosh, down the years, so I don't really do this much anymore. But I used to have this mentality that if someone in a fancy suit said I was good at music, then they must be right. So I sent a lot of songs to people in fancy suits.
Well, let me go get my fancy suit.
I already think you are in a fancy suit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like in my younger years, I'd be like, I hope somebody likes this. I hope somebody likes this. And sometimes they did. And that was really exciting to me.
Oh, okay.
But over time, I actually stopped submitting songs to contests unless I felt like the winners of the contest wrote songs that I actually really dug. I don't know. I found that there were certain contests where the winning song would be technically well written. I just felt like it was impersonal, cheesy. I don't know. Like, no disrespect to the songwriters. Like, they're very, very talented. But I began to crave something that didn't win contests but was very truthful and organically beautiful. And that's part of why I like this contest, actually, because I feel like so many of the entries are very personal, very deeply felt, and I think that's really, really cool.
Well, we did it the second year online. A pandemic kind of we put it as our spiritual kind of guidance back to the artists, and I think we ended up really pushing hard for a tip jar and got every finalist some money. So not if you made the finals, you made money. It we have a fest to put on this year, so we're getting it done a little earlier, and we've kind of streamlined some things, but to make it available to people to post once a week to see a different song and a different thought process. It's been fun for the three judges that kind of whittled it down to 12, and now one judge has come through with his votes, and he just said just an incredible lineup of finalists. What some songs. So all right, let's jump into our Great River Folksinger factoid. I tried to make this up like Stephen Colbert. I don't have any graphics that come up. So, have you ever been to La Crosse before?
No, I haven't. I really want to visit Wisconsin one day, but I've
Uh,
never been.
well, it's a fun place. Have you gone overseas, like to Germany, and see the Rhine River?
Nope, never have.
The reason I ask that is because we've been favorably compared to the Rhine River. The Mississippi Valley here is just absolutely gorgeous. We don't have any castles. We do have a giant six pack. So if you ever heard of that, that's not a huge deal. But Dave's Guitar Shop. If you do know guitarists and you do like to play guitar, sounds like you're new on it, but Dave's Guitar Shop is a gem in La Crosse. He is not only a sponsor, but he is, when I've hosted house concerts and then take people around La Crosse and show them the area, they've said they've never seen a guitar shop any better than in the United States. Never.
Wow.
And upstairs, it's just a guitar collection of all of his. He must have millions of dollars up there in guitars. So, um, all right, let's jump into the legend quiz. Bob Dylan or John Prine?
Bob Dylan. Tough
Okay.
choice. Bob Dylan.
Joni Mitchell or Carole King?
Joni Mitchell.
Okay. Robert Cray or BB King?
I had to look up who Robert Cray was, and they're
Yep.
both very talented, but my pick is BB King.
Yeah. You know, I'm a Robert Cray guy, and then I thought to myself, really, Dave? Is he that good? He won 3 Grammys. You know, it's not too bad. So, Brandi Carlile or Gillian Welch?
I thought it was Gillian.
It might be Gillian Welch. Yeah.
Um,
I might be confusing the pronunciation with the woman who was on the TV show, but yeah, it could be Gillian Anderson or Gillian Anderson. Either way, Brandi Carlile or Gillian Welch.
Oh man, I feel like people are gonna boo. With great respect for each of them as songwriters, I'm not that crazy about personally the sound of their music. I don't know why, because they're both really talented, but I actually really like Gillian's later work. Time the Revelator and everything she's done after that. I really dig the writing a lot.
It was real funny once I heard a friend that I'd met in MySpace play this beautiful song called The Story. And I thought, well, that's really a nice song. I had never even knew who Brandi Carlile was. And yeah, it is amazing that you take the song away from the artist and you wonder what, if it holds up to it, and that one did. Okay, so you're a heavy duty writer in the morning, midday, evening, or you just when the muse hits you?
I feel like I'm definitely like a middle of the night, wee hours of the morning writer.
Oh, a night owl. Yeah, my wife is like that.
Really? Does she write?
No, she reads though, and I thank God that Kindles were invented because stacks of books next to the bed, night light so she could read. Now it's illuminated, so I can get some sleep. So, do you write with prompts, or do you, or is that a practice that you've taken up?
Only in the past year or so, when I actually started to take songwriting classes, did I start to write with prompts. So these days I write both when the muse says something to me or in response to a prompt. Actually, the song I submitted, Dear Northland, was in response to a 3-word prompt. I was given 3 words.
Really?
I had to make a song with all 3. The words were, what were they? Porcelain, antimony, and hood. So porcelain, antimony, and hood. And I had to write a song with each of those words, and I didn't even know what antimony was. So I had to look it up and figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I did, because I actually learned a lot.
On the porcelain, I actually think that is such a tasteful use of that word. Thinking of, you're writing a song about Northland, and now you're describing the china that's in the diner. And I thought, wow, that's down to the details.
I think prompts like that force us to be very specific and to really mine our personal experience and our feelings for very, very specific things. Like, what exactly was it that made us feel a certain way? And I really enjoy that aspect of writing from.
Well, I'm going to go back and re-listen to the song. I'm going to go back and re-listen to the song now knowing that. So, this gets back to if you're, I anticipated it being, if you're younger or older, paper or computer or something else, how do you write? And I've been just floored that the old guy is writing on his phone and a young woman's got paper and books all over the place. So how do you write? Are you a computer? Type it out, read wordsmith it?
1 second.
Oh, okay. A visual. Oh, what's that little tiny thing? You obviously are young and you can look at real small type. type fonts without glasses yet.
Yeah, I use both notebooks and my phone notes, and it really depends on if I'm writing mindfully, which means like sitting somewhere and doing things properly and writing things down in a notebook, or if I'm walking down the street feeling a lot of emotions and I'm like, dang it, I have to write this down. So
Do you do sometimes I found myself in the car notes and you hit that little microphone so at least you can dictate it into the notes?
occasionally,
Yeah.
yeah.
It weird words come into play, but yeah, which sometimes good and bad. Um, all right, so you have paper. Do you have a pencil sharpener at
No,
home?
I only write with pen.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. Um, so now you have the object to frame one of your songs. Which song would it be?
Well,
And
do I
go ahead.
the whole song or just a lyric from the song?
Some people thought it would just be a portion of the song. I was thinking about the whole, but that portion led you to framing it. Go for it.
I'm gonna answer for both. If it were the whole song, there's a song I wrote called "Digging for Gold," which I wrote coming to terms with the early death of my father-in-law, who was a very, very dear person to me, and who was grappling with his own mortality. And I think watching that process, watching him struggle to find peace with that reality, got under my skin, and I had to make peace with it too. And I found myself having to face my own mortality, and so I wrote "Digging for Gold." And I sang it for him, actually. It was the last thing I ever sang for him. He was always a big supporter of my music. He was always one of those people saying, Siena, like, you should take this seriously. And he said he was moved by one of the lines which said, we learn as we go to make with what slips through our fingers and what remains, or something like that. So that's sort of the serious song. If I were to frame just a lyric, I would frame a lyric from my song Desert Island Companion, which I wrote last year about being trapped in the same house with my spouse during quarantine. And the lyric I would frame is tacos.
Yeah, you could do a lot of things with that. Just real simple. Tacos. Yeah, and thank God that I downloaded that CD and or bought it, and I have so much music, so a lot of times I skim over, pick a few songs I like, then listen to like hell to all of them, to those particular songs. So I forget when I was listening to that, and I had to do a double take about that song. That was a unique song. I like that song. Um, okay, what color frame would you put either of those in? Now, let's stick with the tacos. What is your vision of tacos? You know,
I think it would be probably like a bright pink, neon pink with taco decorations all over it.
without a frame then, or with a frame?
With a frame.
Okay. And where are you going to hang this thing? In the kitchen?
Probably hang it right over my bed. Yeah.
Okay.
Wake up in the morning and I'm like,
tacos.
motivation for the day.
And we had Mexican, so I'm fine with that right now. So, all right, 7 words you would tell your 10-year-old self.
You will always wait. I have 6. I hope that's okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
We'll put a period in.
You will always be a musician, period.
Oh, that's that's inspirational when you're young and you don't know where you're going to be, and I'm glad that you see that as your vision as well right now. Um, so that ends the survey. So number one, do you have any questions for me about what Great River Folk Fest is, what we've been up to, or anything about the contest that might not have answered so far?
Yeah. So how long has the fest been going on?
Well, the fest has been around since 1976. It was started by a professor from UWL, University of Wisconsin La Crosse, and he actually was friends with Pete Seeger and had a kind of look and feel to himself. He almost looked like Pete Seeger, played clawhammer banjo. And second year of our existence, we got Pete Seeger as the headliner. That's pretty cool. I've actually been coming to the festival. I want to just simplify it, 40 of the 44 years. We would actually travel across Wisconsin just to come to the festival, Lori and I, and then just tourist some 4 hours away. So when we moved to this part of the country, then it was like every year we'd make it there unless they're taking kids to college or something like that. And saw some incredible musicians throughout the day. Kate Wolf played here, Tom Paxton, um, Bob Gibson from Chicago, who was a very good friend of Shel Silverstein, and it was just fun to just go through the history of who made it here, and while I hit some big names, some of the little names were just like intense, uh, people to put in my memory, have on vinyl nowadays. So as I hung around, eventually the committee needed more people and asked me to be on, and I've been the fest chair for the last 5 to 6 years.
Nice.
So we're down at Riverside Park in downtown La Crosse, and we aren't a big festival. Maybe we get about 1,500 people through it. It's very laid back. We had Corey Chisel from Mile of Music, who's been down to Nashville a few times, with Emmylou Harris and stuff. He came over and he says, "This is gonna be my most favorite festival I've ever played. You guys are so laid back, and after a musician gets done in a song swap or something, he's just hanging out and people are talking to him. It's like, or them. So it's a fun festival. If we grow 15 to 20% a year, I'm happy. We're making money. Everybody would love to have a budget that could bring in like a Brandy Carlisle. That would be about 4 times our annual budget right there, one person. So we're not into that right now because number one, we don't have it. Number two, we don't have the sponsors. But the people we get here are just passionate, great songwriters, the great craftspeople on their fiddle or whatever reason that we brought them over here. They're great. So, and you never know, next year, August 2022, you could be the songwriting winner and we'd book you. The other aspect is if you're traveling through and had family, had something going on, just because you wouldn't win doesn't mean I wouldn't book you. I want to hear you. Yeah, so we'll keep in touch, and we've kept in touch with all the other finalists in the past. This year, the regional ones were a lot easier for me to tap into. Our singer-songwriter contest from last year had a person from the Twin Cities that I'm booking, somebody from Chippewa Falls that I'm booking, and you might notice in the list, Kerosene Kites were a first week and second week submitter for this year's contest, and we've got them booked. But they were Madison, Chippewa Falls. They were within 2 hours. So
Right.
it was a way to connect with them. And those are all people that we probably haven't met and wouldn't have met if we didn't have a contest like this online and connected with people.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. I think it's one of the things I wanted to say to you was not a question, but a huge thank you for all you do. I mean, especially with another job that you're working on, like, and then you come and do this, like, with so much passion and so much care. Like, you listen to every song, you actually listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
I think for all of us who write music, that's incredibly valuable, and we appreciate it so much. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
And something that I've been learning as a musician is just it's really not the size of or how many followers you have. It's not the size of the festival. It's not the size of anything. It's really the depth. It's the it's the depth, the connection, the quality of the music, the care that went into making it, and that's everything. And so I think it's really wonderful what you're doing. And if I'm ever in La Crosse, I honestly, ever since I found out about the festival, I've been like, I need to make a trip over there. That just
Well,
sounds too good to pass up.
there are favorites in the 12, but all ultimately any one of those people who are driving through at a different time of the year, because I book my house concert 4 times a year, definitely you would be on my list. I'd love to hear you in a house concert setting because of the intimacy of the music to the listener. The fact that while you're singing, everybody's listening. The minute you're done singing, the room just kind of like comes back and talks to you if you want. If you can talk to them, and it's just, I just love the house concert format. So we've been doing that since 2008.
I do too, and that's fantastic that you do that. I actually have my first ever solo house concert coming up on July 24th, and I'm super, super excited. And I've been practicing. I brought my guitar on this road trip so that I could practice every day for it.
Well, that's cool. We could probably talk for hours about house concerts and the experience, because some of the ones that we've had were their first house concerts. Great musicians,
Wow.
been around for a long time, or in the bars all the time, and then they get in the house concert. It's a little bit different experience and different feel to it. And one of them that I can tell the stories. Quick story is look up a band called The Pines. They're from Iowa. They're not touring anymore. I don't think they've forever separated, but they did separate. They were, I think, Red House recording record artists or something. And I luckily had them because they were going from Fort Atkinson back home to Minneapolis, and I was just a spot on the way, 2 hour spot on the way. And I reached out to them, and they said, sure. And they said during the middle of the song, they said, well, this is usually when we hear a lot of noise from the bar. And their song banter was very, very, very light, but so subtle and understated. It was a lot of fun too. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
all right. Anytime you have any questions, give me a buzz. You and I will connect and stay connected because I love your music. So I wish you the best of luck. Um, I, and I would say that you should start charging for that one isolation um, see Bandcamp because it's beautiful. It's such a great piece of work.
Well, thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate getting the time to talk to you.
Yeah, been fun. It's probably getting to a point where my Zoom is going to tell me you have 3 minutes left or you have 5 minutes left. this home one I don't pay for. The work one we pay for. But so if you have any other questions, you just holler. You know how to get a hold of me, and I wish you the best of luck. And um, it's going to be fun. I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's going to say